Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Om Ajnanatamrindasya Gyananjana चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताकस्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमः आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिनि गौरकथादामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणि नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य चरितामृता आदि लीला चैप्टर 2 टेक्स्ट 46 नारीरा आयना या ते खर दर्शन ताहा ते हाओ तुमी मूला नारायण You oversee the wanderings of all living beings. For this reason also, you are the primeval Lord Narayana. Sri Krishna, in his Paramatma feature, lives in the hearts of all living beings in both the transcendental and mundane creations. As Paramatma, he witnesses all actions the living beings perform in all phases of time, namely past, present, and future. Sri Krishna knows what the living beings have done for hundreds and thousands of past births. He sees what they're doing now, and therefore he knows the results of their present actions that will fructify in the future. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the entire cosmic situation is created as soon as he glances over the material energy. Nothing can exist without his superintendence, since he sees even the abode for rest of the collective living beings is the original Narayana. So that is why he knows past, present, and future, because he can also predict our future, because he knows what activities we are doing now. And he is the one who decides which karma to give when. So that is how he knows. But he gives us independence. Anytime we can change that and just take shelter of him, surrender to him. That is in our hands. Anytime we can decide. But of course, by Krishna's mercy, somehow or the other, if we get the good chance, by devotee's mercy, devotee tells us, Krishna has put us in complete forgetfulness. But then a devotee takes pity on us and says, come on, become a devotee, and they try their best. Then Krishna gives us mercy and we can change our destiny like that. So in that way, we need to go, and that is why devotees are so important, because they can change, I mean, by people's destinies, by giving mercy, by somehow working on them and bringing them to Krishna consciousness. Maybe because of their past karma, Krishna has not yet given sometimes, and so Krishna allows the devotees to do his job. So as Paramatma, he witnesses all actions. He sees what they're doing in future. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the entire cosmic situation is created as soon as he glances over the material energy. Nothing can exist without his superintendence, since he sees even the abode for the rest of the collective living beings, that is in the spiritual world. He is the original Narayana, such a great being. When we understand his greatness, how he is all pervading, he is the supreme truth, and we really are completely controlled by him. Knowing that, we should give up trying to control everything ourselves or make our own plans. which are not part of Krishna's plans. We have to find out what does Krishna want. And then we tell him also, if you want something, you can tell him if you also want. And we leave it. He knows anyway. He knows our innermost desires. So we don't even need to tell him. We just leave it to him, whether he fulfills it or doesn't fulfill it. Or one thing we want, we should beg is, let me engage in your service. Even if you fulfill my desires, those desires should be for your service. That is why we have to only concentrate on serving him. Then nothing is an obstacle. Whether we get something or we don't get something, we can always be happy in serving Krishna. The service is the important thing. Mood of service, not what we actually do. So that understanding to get how many reams and reels of covering is covering our soul, and we're not able to see that. We're only seeing this material thing, immediate things, and we're so much disturbed by that. But actually, our only good fortune is when we can engage in Krishna's service, in the heart, in the mood of service. Everything is for you. That's it. That is what gives ecstasy, nothing else. You see, this in all religions, it's mentioned in Vedas. Of course, it is yajna. Yajna is the one which satisfies Vishnu also, and it satisfies us also. When we do it in the mood of sacrifice for Krishna, that is when we feel completely satisfied. And it's the source of all good fortune. Because then Krishna is always thinking of how to benefit us. And if you see, now recently they had this Eid, they have this thing of kurbani, right? They have to sacrifice. They also have sacrifice. Only thing is, they sacrifice something else, not their own thing. But anyway, the life. But because it was asked of Abraham that God told him that, can you sacrifice your most, what is most valuable, dear to you? Can you sacrifice for me? And he said, yes, I can do that. Then he said, okay, you like your youngest son, na? You sacrifice him for me. And so when he was about to sacrifice, he said, okay, he was ready. And then the Lord became very kind and he said, no, no, instead of sacrificing your son, you sacrifice a goat. That is only because he was ready to sacrifice even his son for God. So he made a this thing. I mean, so you have to sacrifice something which is dear to you, not take somebody else's life and give it to Krishna. Anyway, that apart. But every religion accepts that we have to sacrifice for the pleasure of Krishna. That gives our soul greatest happiness. And to understand that takes us how many lifetimes, how much of tapasya, how much of purification we need before we can come to this realization. Oh Krishna, I'm existing only for your pleasure. And that is our good fortune. Krishna kahe na Brahma tomara na bhuji vachana jiva hridi jale vaise se Narayana. Krishna said, Brahma, I cannot understand what you're saying. Lord Narayana is he who sits in the hearts of all living beings and lies down in the waters of the Karana ocean. Yes, Narayana is the Vishnu form who is in the heart and he's also lying the waters of the Karana ocean. Brahma kahi jale jive ye Narayana se sab tomara amsha ye satya vachana. Brahma replied, what I've said is true. The same Lord Narayana who lives on the waters and in the hearts of all living beings is but a plenary portion of you. कारणब्धि गर्भोदक क्षीरोदक्ष साई माया द्वारे सृष्टि करे ताते सब माई. The Karunadakshayi, Garbhodakshayi, and Kshirodakshayi forms of Narayana all create in cooperation with the material energy. In this way, they are attached to Maya. So the Purusha avatars, they are considered, a little not on par with the spiritual world, Narayana and all others, because they are cooperating with material energy. In this way, they are attached to Maya, they are considered to be attached to Maya. Seiti na jale sai sarva antaryami brahmanda vrindera atma ye purusha nami. These three Vishnus lying in the water are the super soul of everything. The super soul of all the universes is known as the first Purusha. That is Mahavishnu. He is the super soul of all the universes. Hiranya Garbera Atma Garbhodakshasai Vyasti Jiva Antaryami Kshirodakasai. Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of the aggregate of all living entities. And Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of each individual living being. So he is the super soul of this whole universe, Garbhodakshai Vishnu. For everybody, he is the Paramatma for the universe and collectively. That's why, and Kshirodakshai is the personal, he is personally expanded and entered everybody's heart. Isabara darshanite ache maya ganda turiya krishnera nahi mayara sambandha. Superficially, we see that these Purushas have a relationship with Maya, but above them in the fourth dimension is Lord Krishna, who has no contact with material energy. Purport, the three Purushas, Karanodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu, all have a relationship with the material energy called Maya, because through Maya they create the material cosmos. These three Purushas who lie on the Karana, Garbha, and Kshira waters are the super soul of everything that be. Karanodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of the collective universes. Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of the collective living beings. And Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of all individual living entities. Because all of them are somehow attracted to the affairs of the material energy, they can be said to have some affection for Maya. But the transcendental position of Sri Krishna himself is not even slightly tinged by Maya. His transcendental state is called Turiya, or the fourth dimensional stage. So, Krishna, he only wants to help us. Okay, you want to enjoy yourself, he wants to create a dream world for us. And the dream world, he expands himself, he doesn't want to be involved. So, that expansion is because it is created with the association of Maya, so it's considered a little not, I mean, having affection for Maya. So it's considered not on par with Krishna. Virat Hiranya Garbhascha Karanam Cheti Upadhyaya Ishasya Yat Tribirhinam Turiyam Tat Prachakshate. In the material world, the Lord is designated as Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Karana. But beyond these three designations, the Lord is ultimately in the fourth dimension, which is transcendental. The phenomenal manifestation of the supreme whole, the nominal soul of everything, and the cause or causal nature are all but designations of the Purushas who are responsible for material creation. The transcendental position surpasses these designations and is therefore called the position of the fourth dimension. This is a quotation from Sridhar Swami's commentary on the 11th canto, 15th chapter, verse 16 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So they are. So the Virat Rupa is the Paramatma form. Hiranyagarbha is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who's the Atma of this universe, and Karana. Karana is the Mahavishnu, Karanodakshai Vishnu. Yadyapi tine ramaya laya vyavahara yata tatapi tat sparsha nahi sabi maya para. Although these three features of the Lord deal directly with the material energy, none of them are touched by it They're all beyond illusion. It's not that they are in Maya, but they are working with Maya. Only because of glancing. They glanced at her, and because of that, everything happens. And then they also take part in it by expanding, and then he's the super soul of this universe. He's witnessing everything. So in that sense, he is very active in Maya because he's watching everything and he's directing everyone. Etad ishanam ishasya prakritistopi tad gunai na yujyate sadatmastair yata buddhistad ashraya. This is the opulence of the Lord. Although situated in the material nature, is never affected by the modes of nature. Similarly, those who have surrendered to Him and fixed their intelligence upon Him are not influenced by the modes of nature. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.38. Those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead do not identify with the material world, even while living in it. Pure devotees may deal with the three modes of material nature, but because of their transcendental intelligence in Krishna consciousness, they are not influenced by the material qualities. The spell of material activities does not attract such devotees. Therefore, the Supreme Lord and his devotees, acting under him, are always free from material contamination. So the Lord is very opulent because he's right here, is involved in everything, he's aware of everything. Not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. He knows everything that is happening, all material activities. He's aware. It's not as if, oh, it's material. He is aware of everything, but he's beyond it. He never gets affected by anything material. So he's very, very aloof from that. And the wonderful thing is, those who have surrendered to him and fixed their intelligence upon him are not influenced by the modes of nature. So that is what the material qualities do not touch a devotee who's thinking about Krishna, because he becomes equal in quality to Krishna. He also becomes transcendental. The spell of material activities does not attract such devotees. You cannot bribe a devotee with anything material. The devotee is fixed, pure devotee is fixed in his intelligence on Lord Krishna. So that is why we should not criticize a pure devotee, because he is acting under the instructions of Krishna. So whatever he does, like for example, nobody can tell, oh, Yudhishthira told a lie. Ashwatthama is dead. Why did he say? He said now that he will never tell lies. Why did he speak like that? Ashwatthama, the elephant, is dead. He said that. So he cheated. But he is not responsible for that, because pure devotee does only what Krishna says. So he is beyond this thing. Sometimes it may seem, why did he do like that? Also, pure devotees are living in this world. There'll be many challenging situations, so many things. They also have to deal with so many things. And sometimes it may seem nobody can understand what he's doing, why he's doing, and they may criticize, but it's very dangerous, because that means you're criticizing Krishna. सेति न जनेरा तुम्ही परम आश्रया तुम्ही मूला नारायण इति की समस्या samshaya. You are the ultimate shelter of these three plenary portions. Thus, there is not the slightest doubt that you are the primeval Narayana. Brahma has confirmed that Lord Krishna is the supreme, the source of the three manifestations known as Shirudakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Karanodakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu. For his pastimes, Lord Krishna has four original manifestations, namely Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyamna, and Aniruddha. The first Purusha Avatara, Mahavishnu, in the causal ocean, who's the creator of the aggregate material energy, is an expansion of Sankarshana, the second Purusha. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is an expansion of Pradyamna. And the third Purusha, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, is an expansion from Aniruddha. All these are within the category of manifestations of Narayana, who's a manifestation of Sri Krishna. So Vasudeva is there. Then these three, the Purusha avatars, have all come from the other three. Sankarshana, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu has come from Pradyamna, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu from Aniruddha. So in the material world also, the quadruple expansions are working. In the Narayana, in the Vaikuntha, first they expand from Balarama comes the quadruple expansion, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyamna, Aniruddha. And they are there in Dwaraka. Then from that Sankarshana, that first quadruple expansion, Narayana comes. Narayana is the chief in the Vaikuntha world. And from Narayana, again expands the second quadruple expansion, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyamna, Aniruddha. And from that second quadruple expansion only, Mahavishnu comes, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, from Pradyamna, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu comes, from Aniruddha, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, and Vasudeva is the Supreme Lord of Seiti Nera Amshi Para Vyoma Narayana, Tenha Tomara Vilasa Tumi Mula Narayana. The source of these three features is the Narayana in the spiritual sky. He is your Vilasa expansion. Therefore, you are the ultimate Narayana. So for all these Leelas, Krishna expands himself, right? And then that is what he is saying. You are the ultimate shelter of these three plenary portions. Thus, there's not the slightest doubt that you are the primeval Narayana. For his pastimes, Lord Krishna has four original manifestations, namely Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyamna, and Aniruddha. So that is why this Vilasa pastime, Vilasa expansions, for the sake of having all these different Leelas in the spiritual world as well as here. Ata eva Brahma Vakye Paravyoma Narayana Tenho Krishnera Vilasa Yei Tattva Vivarana. Therefore, according to the authority of Brahma, the Narayana, who is the predominating deity in the transcendental world, is but the Vilasa feature of Krishna. This has now been conclusively proved. Yei shloka. So this is very important because there are some people who are thinking that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu and he is the supreme. So much here it's explained. Brahma himself is saying.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Mataji, which chapter are you reading? Please tell me, Mataji.
Chapter 2.
And word.
Adi Lila, chapter 2, text 59.
Thank you.
Ye shloka tattva lakshana bhagavata sara paribhasha rupe ihara sarvatra dikara. The truth indicated in this verse, text 30, is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. This conclusion through synonyms applies everywhere. So, Brahma Atma Bhagavan Krishnera Vihara Ye Artha Na Jani Murka Artakare Ara, not knowing that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are all features of Krishna. Foolish scholars speculate in various ways. What is very naturally explained by Prabhupada to us through the scriptures, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam, everything very, very clear. But these scholars, they read so many texts and they cannot come to any conclusion. And they keep speculating about position of Krishna and all of these things. Avatari Narayana Krishna Avatara Tenha Chatur Bhuja Inha Manusya Akara. Because Narayana has four hands, whereas Krishna looks just like a man, they say that Narayana is the original God, whereas Krishna is but an incarnation. Some scholars argue that Narayana is the original personality of Godhead, of whom Krishna is an incarnation, because Krishna has two hands, whereas Narayana has four. Such unintelligent scholars do not understand the features of the Absolute. So, this is the problem about speculating. If you speculate on our own, we'll think, yeah, four hands seems like God, right? He's got more powers, four arms, whereas Krishna looks like us, two hands. So naturally, Narayana only must be the supreme. And such unintelligent scholars do not understand the features of the absolute. Eimate nana rupe kare purva paksha tahare nirjite bhagavata padya daksha. In this way, their arguments appear in various forms, but the poetry of the Bhagavatam expertly refutes them all. So we have this verse, famous verse from Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yag jnanam advayam, brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth say that it is non dual knowledge and is called impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead. Uh, so the absolute truth consists of these three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. सुनभाइयै श्लोककरः विचार एकमुख्य तत्त्वातीना tahara prachara. My dear brothers, kindly listen to the explanation of this verse and consider its meaning. The one original entity is known in his three different features. Advaya Jnana Tattva Vastu Krishnera Swarupa Brahma Atma Bhagavan Tina Tantra Rupa. Lord Krishna himself is the one undivided absolute truth, the ultimate reality. He manifests himself in three features as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam cited above, Bhagavatam 1.2.11, the principal word Bhagavan indicates the personality of Godhead, and Brahman and Paramatma are concomitants deducted from the absolute personality, as a government and its ministers are deductions from the supreme executive head. In other words, the principal truth is exhibited in these three faces. The absolute truth, the personality of God, is Sri Krishna. Bhagavan is also known as Brahman and Paramatma, although all these features are identical. So this Bhagavan, um, he is the personality of Godhead, and Brahman and Paramatma are deducted from the absolute personality, right? The light coming from the Lord and his expansion as Paramatma are features of Bhagavan. Just like in the government, the supreme executive head is there, and his other features are the government ministers and its government and its ministers. are deductions from the supreme executive head. So the chief person is there, and all the ministers are like the Paramatma, and a government itself is like the Brahmajyoti. So he's saying, so like that, these three features. Government means it includes the head, it includes the um, ministers, the prime minister. Okay, he's prime minister is the supreme person in the country. And then his expansions are his ministers who are like, you know, like the Paramatma feature. And then the power that he has everywhere is the presence of the prime minister. Wherever you go, all over the country, nothing can move without his sanction. All laws are obeyed the way, whatever, you know, the government passes. So, in that way, in his impersonal feature, prime minister is everywhere, right? All over the country. So, in this way, we can understand. Ye shlokera arte tumi haila nirvachana araeka shuna bhagavatera vachana. The import of this verse has stopped you from arguing. Now listen to another verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmaji is telling Krishna, because he is telling you only are all this, and Krishna said, no, no, um, the this is all separate. So he is arguing from Shastras and establishing that Krishna only is everything. Ete chas ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Bridayanti Yuge Yuge. All these incarnations of Godhead are are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. In every age, He protects the world through His different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. Okay, purport. This statement of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28 definitely negates the concept that Sri Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu or Narayana. Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, the supreme cause of all causes. This verse clearly indicates that the incarnations of the personality of Godhead, such as Sitaram, Narsimha, and Varaha, all undoubtedly belong to the Vishnu group. But all of them are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Um, we need to know everything perfectly so that we'll not be confused and think that, oh, Krishna is an avatar of Narayana and so on. When we have, because all these are absolute truths, when we know the truth perfectly, that is when we can realize the truth perfectly. If we don't have proper knowledge, how will we realize? So, with सब अवतारेरा करी सामान्य लक्षण तार मध्ये कृष्ण चंद्रेरा करीला गणना. The Bhagavatam describes the symptoms and deeds of the incarnations in general and counts Sri Krishna among them. Because in the Bhagavatam, the first 9 chapters, all the different avatars are mentioned, and then finally in the 10th chapter, Krishna is also mentioned. So it looks as if, all are same. Tabi Sutta Gosani Mane Pana Bhada Bhaya Yara Ye Lakshana Taha Nichaya. This made Sutta Goswami greatly apprehensive. Therefore, he distinguished each incarnation by its specific symptoms. So that is what the confusion may arise. And that's why Sutta Goswami, he told what are the symptoms of each incarnation. Avatara Sabha Purushera Kala Amsha Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Sarva Avatamsha. All the incarnations of Godhead are plenary portions or part of plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But the primeval Lord is Sri Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all unrealities, incarnations. पूर्व पक्ष पूर्व पक्ष कहे तुम्हारा भालाता व्याख्यान परव्योमा नारायण स्वयं भगवान. An opponent may say, this is your interpretation, but actually the Supreme Lord is Narayana, who's in the transcendental realm. So here it is mentioned that all the avatars are expansions of the Purusha avatars. And someone may say, actually, they're expansions of Narayana, who are in the spiritual world. Tenha asi Krishna rupe karena avatara, yehi artha shloke deki kiyara vachana. Narayana incarnates as Lord Shiva, as Narayana incarnates as Lord Krishna. This is the meaning of the verse as I see it. There is no need for further consideration. So this is a misguided interpreter. You might say like that Narayana is the supreme and Krishna is acting as is coming as his incarnation. Taraka hikena kara kutakanumana shastra virudhartaka bhunahaya pramana. To such a misguided interpreter, we may reply, why should you suggest such fallacious logic? An interpretation is never accepted as evidence if it opposes the principles of the scripture. Anuvadam anuktva tu na videyam udirayet nahi alabdhaspadam kinchit kutrachit pratitishhtati. One should not state as predicate before its subject, for it cannot thus stand without proper support. So subject, we always sentence construction, we have subject first and then predicate. Rama went out to play. So Rama is the subject and predicated went out to play. Sometimes, we compose like that. Uh, um, Playing was done by Rama. So we put the predicate first, but actually one should not state a predicate before its subject, for it cannot thus stand without proper support. This rhetorical rule appears in the Ekadashi Tattva, 13th Canto, in a connection with the metaphorical use of words. An unknown object should not be put before the known subjects because the object has no meaning if the subject is not first given. So, what is important is the subject, right? It is Rama who went out to play. So, that is why it's saying that you must always put unknown object should not be put before the known subject because the object, we don't know what we are saying, qualifying the person, but we know the person. So, we should put the subject only first because the object has no meaning if the subject is not first given. अनुवादा ना कही या ना कही विधेया आगे अनुवादा कही पाश्चात विधेया. If I do not state a subject, I do not state a predicate. First I speak the former and then I speak the latter. Videya kahiye tare ye vastu agnata anuvada kahi tare ye gyata. The predicate of a sentence is what is known to reader, whereas the subject is what is unknown. We don't know what we're going to say about the subject. So that is unknown, whereas subject is known. For example, we may say this Vipra is a greatly learned man. In this sentence, the Vipra is the subject and the predicate is his erudition. Viprata Vikhyata Tara Panditya Agnyata Ataeva Vipra Age Panditya Paschata. The man's being a Vipra is known, but his erudition is unknown. Therefore, the person is identified first and his erudition later. Taiche inha avatara sabahaila gyata kara avatara ei vastu avagnyata. In the same way, all these incarnations were known, but those whose incarnations they are was unknown. Ete shabde avatare ra age anuvad purushera amsha pache videya samvada. First, the word ete, these, established the subject, the incarnations. Then, plenary portions of the Purusha avatars follows as the predicate. Ete cha kala pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Hmm. In the same way, when Krishna was first counted among the incarnations, specific knowledge about him was still unknown. So, ete cha kala pumsam, it is talking about all these incarnations are what? Kala or etecha amsha or kala, incarnations. So that is the predicate. And in the same way, when Krishna was first counted among the incarnations, specific knowledge about him was still unknown. Then, therefore, the first word Krishna appears as the subject, followed by the predicate describing him as the original personality of Godhead. अतएव कृष्ण शब्द आगे अनुवाद स्वयं भगवता पीछे विधेय संवाद. कृष्णेरा स्वयं भगवता इहा हैला साध्य स्वयं भगवानेरा कृष्णत्व हैला बाध्य. This established that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead is therefore necessarily Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So, followed in that, Krishna comes first, and then Bhagavan Swayam comes as the predicate. Krishna yadi amsha haita amshi narayana tabe viparila haita sutera vachana. Had Krishna been the plenary portion and Narayana the primeval Lord, the statement of Suta Goswami would have been reversed. Narayana amshiye swayam Bhagavan tenha Sri Krishna aiche karita vyakyana. Thus he would have said, Narayana, the source of all incarnations, is the original personality of Godhead. He has appeared as Sri Krishna. On the other hand, it's the opposite. Krishna is the supreme and he is appearing as Narayana. Brahma pramada vipralipsa karana patava arsha vignya vakyena hi doshaye isaba. Mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the sayings of the authoritative sages. Srimad Bhagavatam has listed the avatars, the plenary expansions of the Purusha, and Lord Krishna appears among them. But Bhagavatam further explains Lord Krishna's specific position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, reason and argument establish that his position is always supreme. Had Krishna been a plenary expansion of Narayana, the original verse would have, would have been differently composed. Indeed, in all its order would have been reversed. But there cannot be mistakes, illusion, cheating, or imperfect perception in the words of liberated sages. Therefore, there is no mistake in a statement that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Sanskrit statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are all transcendental sounds. Srila Vyasadeva revealed those statements with perfect realization, and therefore they are perfect, not for, uh, and therefore they are perfect for liberated sages like Vedavyasa and Narada. Sages like Vyasadeva never commit errors in their rhetorical arguments. Unless one accepts this fact, there's no use in trying to obtain help from the revealed scriptures. Brahma refers to false knowledge or mistakes, such as accepting a rope as a snake or an oyster shell as gold. Pramada refers to inattention or misunderstanding of reality, and Vipralipsa is the cheating propensity. Karuna Vaptar refers to the imperfectness of the material senses. There are many examples of such imperfection. The eyes cannot see that which is very distant or very small. One cannot even see his own eyelid, which is the closest thing to the eye. And if one is disturbed by disease like jaundice, he sees everything to be yellow. Similarly, the ears cannot hear distant sounds. Since the personality of Godhead and his plenary portions and self realized devotees are all transcendently situated, they cannot be misled by such deficiencies. So, hmm, so they are establishing that Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam very important, because most of the people are very confused. If you just study the scriptures, then really they can't come to any conclusion. And so, even we have to give so many proofs to establish how Krishna is the Supreme Person. So, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. It's already said that. And that is the subject. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Etecha Kala Pumsa. They're all these things. But Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Anyway, that is the conclusive proof. Because they are free from all defects. No cheating, no making mistakes, no trying, no misunderstanding, and cheating propensity. Viruddhartakaha tu mi. Oh, I should stop. So it's very important to establish all this. The truth, it will get established gradually. More and more people will come to know. But we have to be very careful. Only after they have come into Krishna consciousness. And that's why in the beginning, we just attract them with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is attractive to everyone. All people get attracted to him. And as long as they accept him, he is the avatar for this age. And then we don't tell too much. Krishna is only the supreme. All devatas are all this thing. And even the other plenary portions are only, parts of amshas of our plenary portions of the supreme being. then they might think, oh, what are you trying to tell me all this for? You want to establish that you are the superior and I am the inferior. Is it that? Why do you say all that? They will not understand. The God is for everyone, and this is the supreme truth. And it's in that mood that we want to tell. But if you tell in advance, then they will think simply you're trying to establish your supremacy over me. My God is only the supreme, your God is useless. They think like that. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not comparable. He is not, he is Krishna only, but he has come separately as a different avatar in Radharani's mood, is a class by himself. So that is why it is easy to tell or everyone, whatever they may be attached to, whoever they are praying to, we can say, please accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then really amazingly, people don't have any problem. They may be upasakas or different devatas also. And when you say this is avatar for this age, he came 500 years ago, they may not believe us because if you show one human like form with curly hair and all, something, those people, okay, some people might accept, some people won't. But if you show such a divine person like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's so beautiful, so perfect, this can't be an ordinary human being. They believe it. Oh, show me. And then they want to see, they're very attracted. Even without showing, just talking about him, people are really attracted. So that is the thing. And here Kaviraj Goswami is trying to establish that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only is the Krishna himself. To that extent, we have to accept him. But right now, we will not. I mean, we need to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he is the Paramatma in everyone's hearts, and he Brahma Jyoti is also coming from him. He is not just because depending on how we see them, that is how much surrender we will do. No, if we, because we know Krishna is the supreme person, then we are ready to completely surrender because there's nothing greater than him. So it's very important to understand this. If we are not very this thing, then we'll not take shelter of Krishna. And that's where those who are Sri Vaishnavas, they don't even want to hear that Krishna is the supreme. No, no, for us, Narayana is the supreme because they are going to Vaikuntha. So they want to feel like that. Though those who are self realized, I mean, they don't mind. Like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a talk with, what is his name? Gopal Bhatta Goswami's father, Venkata Bhatta. So he also thought Narayana was the supreme, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very, teasingly he asked, "Oh, okay, if Narayana is the supreme, then why his wife Lakshmi wanted to go and dance with Krishna?" So he said, "No, no, Lakshmi is very chaste. Don't talk like that. What is wrong? This is also Krishna only. I mean, Krishna is also Narayana only. So it doesn't matter." So he said, "Okay." But why is it that she went there, but she was not allowed to dance? Why? So he said, I don't know all these things. Then he said, because this is, Lakshmi, Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. And so even she is attracted by Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality. I mean, it's all the same person. She likes the feature of, she is also attracted by the feature of Krishna. Everyone is attracted by Krishna, even Lakshmi Devi. But she was not allowed to go and dance because she was not ready to give up her form as Lakshmi. She is attached to Narayana. So that's why she is not able to dance with Krishna. So that means this form is a part of Krishna. He established. Then he accepted. But he didn't become a Krishna devotee because of that. He was attached to Narayana only. But he came to know the truth. Truth, you should not be like some people, because they don't want to believe what they don't want to believe. They'll not even hear it. Don't tell me. I will not listen because I don't want to change my this thing. Why are you afraid? You should not be afraid of the truth. You should always know the truth. That, okay, even if you think, oh, this is going to destroy all my beliefs and faiths, what I had so far, so what? Truth is what is most important. If you were living in falsehood, then take it. Take it away. Be ready to face the truth, because truth is Krishna. And everything that is, if you live in falsehood, you cannot get Krishna. There cannot be even slightest attachment to falsehood if we want Krishna. And that's why a devotee is ready to accept everything. Tell me the truth as it is. I don't want all this, you know, b- trying to wrap it up and keep it under wraps and only telling a little bit. I want to know only partial truth, because some people are attached like that. They only attach to whatever they are attached to, and they stay in that level. A yogi or a jnani or a karma yogi, they think that is, I don't want to know anything beyond that. They're stuck in that. So, but if they are open minded, tell me the truth, no problem. And then, okay, so maybe we always thought that my God only is the supreme. And then our false ego will take a battering to know that some other God is somebody else or is supreme. But if we want the truth, then okay, maybe we'll go to uh, Krishna. Maybe that is where we actually belong. Or it doesn't make any difference. He's all the same person, and I'm worshipping him. He may be only a ete chaka la pumsa, kala or this thing amsha of Krishna. Still, for me, is the supreme. So that is the proper understanding. Okay, any
Mataji,
questions or
sorry, I was
comments?
away for some time, Mataji. Which verse you completed today?
Uh,
Second, 2 point.
2.86, I finished.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Any questions or comments?
Mataji, during the time of Mahaprabhu, lot of Pathans, they converted to Vaishnavas, like, and then it's known as a Pathan Vaishnava. How did that happen,
Not,
Mataji? Because of Mahaprabhu's mercy?
yeah, Mahaprabhu's mercy, not many. Some
Okay,
Patana Vaishnavas whom near close to Vrindavan, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling, then they were on the way, and they saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, just fainted. And all these people were waiting because he was in ecstasy. And these Patanas, they thought their servants, they were trying to murder him and take away all his wealth. Imagine like that. Then, so he said, I'm going to kill all of you because you are trying to, this thing, you're trying to kill this sadhu. So then I think they chanted or something, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up and he came to know what the Pathans were thinking, and he said, "No, no, they are all my people only." So like that, and then he converted them. He spoke Krishna consciousness, and because they were all quite saintly people, at least one of them was, and the chief, he was quite a holy person, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained Krishna consciousness to him, then he surrendered, and all of them, he and his people who were traveling with him, and some more. So, and after that, after they became a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they traveled all over India and they were spreading Krishna consciousness. So those were the ones that he did. But other than that, and then Kazi was one. That is this thing. I don't know. Other than that, whom he didn't make many of them like that.
okay, Mataji. What I'm thinking,
Okay.
Mataji, is like, to protect the Sanatan Dharma and from all this mischievous activities happening, we can do like this, like Jab Marathon once in a month, in every month.